Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but life began. And I honestly wish I could finish the video there, but life came around at around 3.5 billion years ago to be exact. And given the sheer state of things, I think we can all agree that it was a pretty bad idea. But we're currently the dominant species on Earth. We're unrivaled, unmatched, and unparalleled in intelligence. Yeah, in intelligence? Is that what it is? This? Oh god.
Shut the fuck up, you cunt! Shut it!
But on the bright side, there's gonna be 8 billion of us? Really? We're on the tipping point of having 8 billion mouths to feed. On a planet with depleting resources, on the brink of a mass 6th extinction. Oh, where did it all go wrong? But society's weird. It becomes less and less socially acceptable to cry in public the older you get, despite the reasons for doing so become more and more valid. Like, you know, the more I think about it, I get why kids cry so much and babies. I mean, imagine waking up in this absolute shithole of a world. I mean, Mum, Dad, Mum, why did you bring me? The world is changing faster than ever before, but I think, like most of us, we can agree that it's not changing in necessarily the right direction. But given that we're becoming more and more digital, isn't it kind of counterintuitive to still do exams with pen and paper while the world becomes more and more virtual? But hey, everyone's just busy nowadays, whether it's with work or school or family or other responsibilities. Our attention is only given to our priorities and not necessarily others. So it's really likely that a lot of people probably hate you for some minor inconvenience you unknowingly caused them. Oh my god, don't get me stuck. Mia, if you're watching this, you are the definition of an inconvenient. Recent studies show that the average attention span is on a drastic decrease. I mean, given that the average length of an exam is around an hour or so, and our attention span is dwindling down to around 15 seconds per TikTok, is it really much of a surprise that the future isn't looking too bright? And thinking about it, it kind of sucks that we're the only species that has to pay to exist. I mean, well, if you think about it, everything is free as long as you can outrun security. And for all the intellectuals watching, aren't farts just ghosts of shit? And if the sun's light takes 8 minutes to reach Earth, then doesn't that just make astronomy the only branch of science that's entirely based on outdated data? And I don't know if this is just me, but for those who are into science fiction movies, it's kind of ironic that one of the most memorable parts of Men in Black, for example, was the devices that erases people's memories. And does anyone else find it super irritating and super convenient that every planet in Star Wars has the same force of gravity? And come to think of it, and on the theme of convenience, isn't calling people an asshole probably the most gender neutral thing you can call someone? So in my spare time, I like to train and watch boxing. I find some sort of thrill from watching two guys beat the shit out of each other, I guess. But coming to think of it, almost everyone is undefeated in professional boxing. And if lab-grown meats become the norm, then our kids and grandkids will probably think that we were monsters for killing and eating animals. But let's rewind back to the real world for a bit. I think Joe Biden said yesterday that Russia plans on actually invading Ukraine.
We have reason to believe the Russian forces are planning to and intend to attack Ukraine in the coming weeks.
Are you sure about that?
In the coming days.
And if that's the case, then our generation is probably the closest to nuclear war the world has ever been since the 1962 missile crisis in Cuba. And a somewhat related statistic. Well, given that men are more likely to die in war, and the male population is beginning to decrease and the female population is increasing, the ratio is heavily unbalanced and will go unbalanced in the future. But if for some reason all men just disappeared tomorrow, then there would actually be enough sperm banks around the world that, say if men did disappear tomorrow, the human race would actually continue. Now, what I think about quite often is love, and what actually is it? By definition, it's an intense feeling of affection, but that implies love is one thing, when in reality, love is much more of a spectrum. I love my dog differently to how I love my car. People love their partner differently towards their parents, so love is clearly more complex than what we define it by. And how do you distinguish between love and lust if lust is a strong sexual desire and love is an intense sense of affection? They're both really similar and both coexist within most relationships, so how do you know which one dragged you in? I guess one way you could figure that out is to see if a relationship works out or not. Since love is enduring, a broken relationship likely comes from lust, right? This is what I mean when I say to people love is so difficult to understand. It's only now all the English poets and philosophers of love and Shakespeare actually make sense. I genuinely believe teenage relationships aren't meant to last. Some say it's a filtering process to figure out what you want or don't want in a person, but doesn't that just seem exhausting? I mean, we all remember our firsts for anything, whether it's good or bad. It's memorable. Like how your first relationship will never compare to any others. The whole process seems just extremely emotionally draining, but I'd also not want to have a partner arranged for me since that carries so many risks. This could honestly be a separate video of me questioning the philosophy of love, but I'll say one more thing. I've never seen a married couple or a long-lasting relationship ever seem at all great as it was at the start. It's almost like you just find different ways of tolerating each other's bullshit, you know? Like, come on, I've seen in so many relationships that after the honeymoon period, which is like the first 2 months that everything feels great, after that everything just goes downhill. Maybe I'm just out of my mind. I mean, I'm only 19 and a 13.8 billion year universe is yet to be discovered. I mean, I have time, right, Putin? Anyway, I hope you guys liked this video. I actually really enjoyed making this, and I'd really love to make more of them, so leave a like if you liked it, dislike it if you dislike it, and join my Discord. The link will be in the description, and I'll see you guys soon.